Hi everyone. In this lecture, we will learn what all formatting can be done to make our data look good. Here is our sample table where no formatting has been done. Data in this format is not very appealing and you should not show such data in your presentations. Let's try to learn the tools which make data beautiful. Let's first highlight the header of our data table. We'll select the cells which have the headers and we'll click on the B icon which bolds the text that we have selected. You can see the weights of the text in this selected area has been increased. You can compare student with the student 1 written below. Now we will select the student 1 and other student names from the data and make them into italics. We'll click on the I icon and you can see that all the student names have been changed to italics. Now we will bold the average written in the 14th row, but to do that, instead of selecting all these and clicking on bold icon, we will select the first row, which is our header row, and click on Format Painter. What this does is it copies all the formatting of the selected cells, and when we click on the other cells that we want to format, it copies that formatting on the destination cells. As we can see, average is now also in bold format. Next, what we will do is we will underline the total and percentage headers. So we select those two cells and click on underline. You can see that these two headers are now underlined. Now we will change the format for this table. We'll select the whole table, go to the drop down option where Calibri is written, and we will select Century Gothic font for our table. You can see the numbers in this font are much bigger and much clearer. Next, what we will do is we will see how to increase font of the text. We will select the header and we'll increase the font by clicking on this capital A icon, or we can just go to the numerical value of that font size and change it to 13. You can see that header font size is increased. We can also decrease the font size for the rest of our data to 10. Next, we will apply border to our table. Borders give clarity to the dataset that we have. It clearly demarcates the data from rest of the worksheet. We select the data, go to this icon, click on it and select draw outside borders. If we unselect the data, we can see that there's a small box which is containing our data right now. Within our table, if we want to have different kind of separating lines, we can again select the data, go to that icon and select more borders. Here you can select the style of line that you want to include, and then in the right side where a graphic box visible, you can click and add borders. This represents that we have added a dotted separating line within our data, and outside there is a solid box. If you click on OK, you can see that the within our table there are dotted lines, and outside the table there is a solid box. Next, we will change the color of our header cells. We will select the header cells, go to cell color option, and we will give it a light gray color. Next, we will change the color of student names to light blue. We can see that some of the students' name are not visible because of limited space in the column A. So now we will learn how to increase and decrease the column width and row height. First of all, we'll double click on the separator between A and B column. This will automatically increase the width of column A to fit all the text in column A. To do this for all the rows and columns, select the whole table, go to the format option and select autofit column width. We can see that it has fit all the data in each column basis the maximum characters in that column. We can see that total column is now very small, whereas the percentage column is very large. To manually correct this, you can go to the separator between H and I to increase this, or you can also go to the format option and specify column width for this column. Similarly, height of row can also be increased or decreased. So for average row, we will increase the row width slightly. Next thing that we will do is we'll align our text. So we will first select all the headers that we have and align them centrally. Right now, if you can see the total column, the total is written on the left hand side. This is because it is left aligned. If we align it centrally, total will move to center. Now we will select student names and we will align them to the right. For the last row, which contains average, we can align text vertically also. So to align this in the vertically central position, click on this icon, which is called middle align. You can align text in top and bottom alignment also. To add a title to our table, we'll add first few rows on the top of this table and one column on the left of this table. One shortcut to note here is once we have added a row, to repeat that action, you can use a shortcut which is to tap F4 key. Whenever you tap the F4 key, Excel will repeat the last action. Now let us first write the title of this table, which is same as the title of this lecture, data formatting. And this table contains student data of class. Now you can see that the B3 cell, it has more characters that can fit into the column width. That is why the text in that cell is going over into the next cell. To avoid that, we can use the wrap text option. When we click on wrap text, the data within that cell moves into the next line within that cell. If we add more text to that column, it will automatically adjust and increase the height of that row to accommodate the added text. Another option to accommodate when there is more text than the column width is the merge and center. So we unwrap that text that we wrapped earlier and let us select all the cells till the width of this table. Now let us merge and center these all cells. You can see what happens is all the cells from B to J column have been merged into a single cell and the data entered in B cell is now present in this merge cell. Also, what happened was after merge and center, the data was present in the centrally aligned position. We clicked on left align to left align this data. You can keep it centrally aligned if you like it that way. Now let us move to the percentage column. This column right now has fractions which has been calculated by dividing total marks scored by each student with the maximum marks that can be scored in all these six subjects. To convert this fraction into percentages, we select all these and click on the percentage icon above. You can see that all these fractions have now been converted to percentages. Another thing that we would like to do is in the last row, which is the average row, we can see that there are a lot of decimal points. These numbers after the decimal points may not be relevant to us. We may just want to look at average till one decimal value. Let's select all these and go to the reduce decimal values. Click on it several times till it is one decimal value only. So now let us move on to conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is a very strong tool that Excel provides us. This tool provides us the option to visually highlight the data as per the rules that we have specified. This makes the data more understandable just by looking at it. So let us highlight in our example those students who have scored less than 35 marks in any of the subject. So we select all the numbers, then we go to conditional formatting and go to highlight cell rules, select less than value, give a value of 35. You can select several options here. We will be selecting light red fill with dark red text. You can see that four cells have been highlighted. For student 2 who has scored less than 35 marks in history, student 5, and there are two other failing students in history. All these have been highlighted. Had this option not been available, you would have to manually find all these individual cells and highlight them using the cell color option. There are other options in conditional formatting also. So let us select the total column and let us look at what other options are available. So if we go to the top bottom rules, you can highlight the top 10% students basis their total marks. We will change the color to green and select top 15% students. So student 4 with maximum marks has been highlighted who has scored 522 out of 600. Other options available in conditional formatting are, so we select the percentage column and we go to data bars. It will not be easy to visualize on the percentage column. Let's go to the maths column and go to conditional formatting, data bars. You can see that each cell is filled up to the position of value that they contain. So 100 is 100% filled, 99 is 99% filled, 45 is 45% filled. Similarly, now we will select the science marks to look at other options. We go to color scales. If we hover over one of the options, you can see that the colors are highlighted basis their values. So the highest is, so in this example, highest is marked in dark green and the lowest is marked in red, and different set of values have been highlighted in different set of colors. Next we look at the icon sets. We select the music scores, go to conditional formatting and look at icon sets. If we go to the directional arrows, they will separate the data set into three parts. The top percentile will have upper arrow, the middle percentile will be marked with yellow horizontal arrow, and the last percentile will be marked with red arrows. On the percentage column, we will try to now apply a custom rule. So we go to conditional formatting, apply new rule. We will select a two color scale where lowest value will be light green and highest value will be dark green. Okay. Just by looking at the data, you can see that student 1 and student 4 have probably the highest percentages, and student 2, student 5 will be having the lowest of percentages. Next, we look at some of the options available in the view menu. In view menu, you can see that there are four checkbox. One is grayed out. There is one option of grid lines. If you uncheck it, you'll see that the grid lines around the table have been removed. This particularly highlights the data table and the cells that contain the data. All the other cells, the boundary for those cells have been removed. If you uncheck the formula bar will not be visible to us, but we'll like to see the formula bar, so we'll check it. If we uncheck the headings option, we'll see that the column names and row numbers have been removed, but we'll keep that also. There is a zoom option also, but instead of using that, I'll suggest that we should use zoom in and zoom out from the bottom right corner. Next, we will look at an important tool which is freeze panes. Freeze panes gives us three options, which are we can freeze the top row or the first column or the customized row and column that we want to freeze. What freezing a row or a column does is whenever you scroll down, we are not able to see the table headers for the rest of the data. Similarly, if we scroll to the right, we will not be able to see the student name if there are a lot of columns in between. So what we can do is we will use freeze panes and we will use the first option. To use this, select the cell whose top row and left column you want to freeze. Select that cell, go to freeze panes and click on freeze panes. You can see there are suggestive lines which say that the top part of that line has been frozen and the left part of that line has been frozen. Now if you move your cursor below, the top pane is not moving, all the table is going under it, and if you move it to the right, the left part is not moving, the other part is moving under it. So when you have a large set of data, to maintain the table headers and table first column, you can use freeze panes. That's all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about pivot tables. Thanks.